Well, here in Greater Boston, women and girls of color make up nearly 20% of the total population, but research shows less than 0.5% of local nonprofits focus on women and girls of color. That's according to a new study from the Boston Women's Fund and UMass Boston. Joining me now, we have Natanja Craig Oquendo, CEO of the Boston Women's Fund, and Jessica Martin, the research consultant for the study. Thank you so much, both of you, for being here.
Oh, we're so honored to be here. Thank you for your interest in the report.
Absolutely. I mean, the research is striking when you see that there. Let's start with you, Jessica. The report states that Greater Boston's nonprofit ecosystem is misaligned to the needs of women and girls of color. What did you find in the study? And were you surprised to see what came out of it?
You know, we've known for a long time that women and girls in general receive just a fraction of philanthropic dollars and the revenue resources needed to run their organizations. But when we dug deeper and looked at women and girls of color and how they're being served, it was just a fraction of a fraction. You know, just $25 million shared among all those organizations. And also, really, there just aren't a ton of organizations aligned to the specific needs of women and girls of color in Greater Boston.
And the study also revealed a lack of funding in general for these organizations. How drastic are the inequities when it comes to financial resources?
They're incredibly drastic. I mean, we're talking about women of color are receiving about 2 cents on every $100 that is philanthropically moved around in Greater Boston. That means that those who are doing the most are actually under-resourced. So for us, this is a call to action to philanthropy to really think about what it would take to redesign where resources are going and to do it in a more equitable way.
And that's the thing about the funding. If there's not enough funding in general, right? How are you going to reallocate those dollars fairly, right? So what do you find from the research that it would help to do that? How could we accomplish that mission?
Well, I think part of it is taking an intentional look at where dollars are going. In this research, we did get a chance to speak with a number of other funders in the region, and very few are taking an explicit look at gender, and particularly then looking at women, girls, gender expansive folks of color. And so I think that when you look at 20% of the population, 20% of nonprofit leaders are women of color, and yet the resources just don't match it to such a degree. It's really striking.
In your study, it also talks about the idea of the triple burden, right? So what do women of color experience as grassroots leaders?
So it's actually, there's really 4 burdens, right? There's the gender, there's the race, there is the idea that you are living and working on the same issues that are impacting you, your family every single day, which means your job is essentially 24 hours, because when you get off at 5, let me give you an example. You're working on immigration issues right now, right? And we know what is happening in our city and in our state. You are someone who is also undocumented, and you are holding space for other leaders. You get off of work at 6 o'clock, let's say, right? You go home and you're having now a conversation with your husband and your children about what it means for y'all, right? Not what it means for your organization. So when we talk about the triple burden, what we want people to understand is that our leaders are also in this life. So they're first responders, but they're also have lived experience that is so valuable to us right now, and we want to make sure they're resourced in the right way.
I know your organization is also working to address these inequities. The Boston Women's Fund gives grants, hands-on support to women and gender expansive individuals who are leading these grassroots nonprofits dedicated to social justice. Let's talk about the work. What does it all entail?
It entails, one, amplifying what our leaders are going through. So it entails reports like this that not only talk about what quantitatively is happening, but also tells you what qualitatively is happening. It also means that we are funding where we go where other funders don't go. We like to say we fund people over paper. So our processes are also in a place where leaders have access to the resources a lot easier. We are also a fund that wants to do this in collaboration. This is not, when we talk about 20% of philanthropic dollars going to women and girls of color, we know that that's not something Boston Women's Fund can do alone. And we're actually not saying let's take from someone else to give to others. We're saying let's look at the entire pie and let's figure out how we are distributing these resources differently.
Yeah, and how do you support these other organizations and come together and all of that?
We convene them. We have conversations with them. I think, there is always a power dynamic in philanthropy because there are those of us who are holding the resources and then those of us who are receiving them. Boston Women's Fund sits at the cusp of that. We are fundraising and we are funder. And so there is a lot that we understand our leaders are going through that sometimes a larger philanthropic organization doesn't. So there is proximity not only to the issues, but also to how we have to move through philanthropy and get the resources that we need.
Well, a big component to the study is a call to action, right? So how can Greater Boston meet this moment in your view, Jessica?
I think it's also going back to some of the practices that came up around and in the aftermath of the 2020 events that we saw. Funders changed their approaches to how they took in applications, to how they disseminated money, focused more on grassroots organizations that maybe were overlooked in the past. And what we saw is that the average grant amount, the charitable contributions that grassroots leaders, the grassroots orgs led by women of color were getting in 2020, 2021 increased. Since then, the average grant size is down 25%. So there's been a real pullback. And I think that we've seen that the community can and has done this in the past. And so it's just really being intentional like we were then and continuing through.
Yeah, and I think I would add a call to action is read the report. Start with your own portfolio, right? Look at where you're sending money. You might be thinking, yes, I'm sending to women and girls of color, but perhaps you're not. Look at the leader, look at the board. Just start with that. I think that's a great starting place. Sign up for our newsletter. We're having many conversations about this because we know that we are not the only ones who feel this way, and that it's going to take an army of us to figure this out. But we know that Boston can be the first city to do this.
I like that you said look deeply at the organization. That's really, really good information. We appreciate you both for being here and the work that you're doing.
It's an honor. It really is. Thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you so much for watching CityLine. CityLine is about the stories that shape our communities, and we want to hear yours. Share what's happening where you live at CityLine at WCVB.com, and be sure to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Have a wonderful afternoon.